it, Brian, hit it!
And we are here for episode 23 of Ripping the Rack podcast. I am your host, Tim. My co host this week, Brian, is unavailable once again. This time, though, he is having a little bit of fun and relaxation down in a little warmer part of the country, playing some golf. He is on a golf vacation. Uh, Lucky bastard. He's having a little bit of fun. I'm sure today, I am recording this on Monday. I'm sure it's a little bit moist down where he is. Yes, I did say moist, and well, that's just how it is. Um, Hope everyone had a great week. Once again, I do want to shout out to Ripping the Rack podcast at gmail.com. Ripping the Rack podcast on Twitter, or Ripping the Rack podcast on Facebook. Those are the major ways of getting a hold of us. And as usual, we want to hear from you. Give us some subjects to talk about. Give us some. Yes, Calvin, I know you've given us some. You don't have to, tell me that you have, because that would make, you've told me enough. But yeah, give us a shout out. Tell us what you want to hear. Tell us what you want to listen to. I've got some ideas. We've got some folks that have sent in some stuff. One of these ideas is, say that they'd like a top 10 hardest shots and a top 5 of what we've made. I'm actually going to hold off on doing that until Brian gets back, so that will not be done this week, but that will be for another episode. We also have a little bit of news regarding the podcast. What I think is a positive news, some positive twist per se to what we're going to be doing. We've gotten some feedback. When we started this podcast, we had thought it would be one of those, would talk for about 30 minutes about Candlepin Bowling, and then 30 minutes about life, movies, entertainment, sports entertainment, all sorts of things. And, what it's gone is, some weeks we've gone 45, 50, 55 minutes of bowling, and then 5 minutes of whatever. Other weeks we've gone 20, 25 minutes of bowling, and then talked about, whatever for the next 35, 40 minutes. And I've gotten some feedback, and Brian's got some feedback that, there are those that just listen to the bowling aspect, and then they turn it off. And then there are those that just listen for the other aspects and don't tune in. So we're going to change it up a little bit. We're gonna make this a two-part series. We're going to go live on Tuesday mornings, just like we have been. 7 a.m. on Tuesdays. It's live on iTunes, on Spotify, YouTube, Breaker, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Pocket Casts. I think that might be iHeartRadio, and that will be 30 to 40 minutes of Candlepin Bowling. That will be the true Ripping the Rack podcast. And then when that's over, we are going to do a 30-minute podcast of just Brian and I talking of life, entertainment, comedies, comedic value, serious life-changing stuff, whatever we really want to talk. And that's going to be most likely Friday mornings. That'll go out. So we will have a Ripping the Rack podcast on Tuesdays, and then I don't know what we're going to call it yet. Afterthoughts with Brian and Tim has been bantered around. We'll come up with some name, but that will be on Friday mornings. And that's based on the feedback we've received. And hopefully this won't muddy the waters with what people want to hear. And we will kind of see where that goes, and hopefully that's a good solid change that people get along with and people like. Um, other than that, it's still going to be business as usual as far as the podcast is concerned. I will say I had a fantastic time this weekend. The Bob Hobbs Memorial Tournament at Stars and Strikes in South Paris. That happened on Saturday, and no, it wasn't full, but they had 8 teams, and we bowled 10 strings and I had a great time. I hope everyone else did. It was just a lot of there was some good bowling, but it was just nice to be around people, and it just made me realize how much I really enjoyed going home. Um, it was at Stars and Strikes, which was formerly Hobbs Lucky Lanes, which was formerly Oxford Hills Bowling Center, and frankly, that's where I grew up bowling. My mother took me there when I was, I don't know, 6 months old, I think, is when she started taking me down to the bowling alley. No, I wasn't bowling at 6 months, but I was there to enjoy the smoke-filled bowling alleys. Yeah, you could smoke at the lanes back then. But it was nice to go home. I have always considered Stars and Strikes to be my home. It will always be my home, and I hope Rusty and Jody realize how much I can only speak for myself, but how much I enjoy bowling there, how much I enjoy coming home, and how I think they've done I do. I think they've done a wonderful job. They've cleaned up the place. They've fixed it up. Not quite to where they want. Rusty and I had a great conversation about that, and that was something that truly focused on. He's got like a 7-year plan with the bowling alley, and unfortunately, COVID's put it behind a little bit, but he's working hard towards it. And he and I had a great conversation over the course of the day. He bowled in it. It was kind of fun bowling him when we got to them, because it just brought back a little bit of memories of 30 plus years ago bowling against his father. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Uh, you know, Sorry, Mom, this isn't a knock on you, but honestly, if it wasn't for Russ Neely, I would not have become the bowler that I became. Right, wrong, or indifferent, good or bad, it just Russ took an interest in my bowling, and he really tried to teach me the Jedi ways of Russ Neely bowling, which is just to be mentally prepared and everything else. And it took me a while to understand what he was talking about. It took me a while to really understand where he was going with it. But let's face it, if you're going to learn from someone, why not learn from one of the best? And there is no doubt that Russ Neely, yes, he's in the Hall of Fame, but he is no doubt arguably one of the top two bowlers to come out of the state of Maine. So I talked to Rusty a little bit about that, and it was just kind of fun. So I was happy to get there. I'll have the results. I do know Zach Skinner's team, Family Matters or Family something. I apologize, but I don't have the results here. I will have those next week. But I do know that Zach Skinner's team did win. They won in a roll-off. My team did not win. We did win for having the most fun. Had a great time. I think we came in fourth, right in the middle of the pack. I bowled with Mike and Nikki McKeever, and bowled with Mark Weber and Richard Beveridge Jr. And gave it a run. Had some good strings, and had some bad strings, and but overall I had a great time. I told them all that I really enjoyed it, had fun. Hopefully they did as well. And we'll find another tournament down the road. There are some certainly coming up. Chicha has his the Chicha National or whatever he's calling it tournament going on. I think there's another roll off happening today, another four that are going on today. And pretty soon, I think they'll be into the second round. I think all the women have bowled. I don't I don't have those handy as far as uh, the results so far, but I know there's been some really good bowling. There's been some close matches. There's been some struggles, but well, I guess that's Candlepin bowling. So I did have a couple of questions this week. One question was what, and this is kind of a weird question, but it's a good question. What is your favorite difficult shot? And I kind of had to think about it because I'm like, and I don't know if anyone has a favorite difficult shot. But then I kind of thought about the question. And I realized that there are shots up there that are considered difficult, or maybe it's a cut shot, maybe it's something of that nature. For example, the Angela Paquette, who gave us that question, said that she likes the 5-7 or the 5-10. Something about the shot she likes. She likes to try to cut it over, and it's a really difficult shot, but it's one that she likes to try to make. Unlike some people would get the 5-7 to the 5-10 and be like, oh shit, not that shot again. So I got thinking about it, and I realized that I think my favorite difficult shot to make, or to attempt to make, I should say, and I thought about this, and this is with no wood, because you can make the 7-10 with no wood pretty easily if you've got the right, the right deadwood on the. I'm sorry, it's not deadwood. The right wood on the plate, you can make that shot. I'm talking truly difficult shot. I kind of like the 5-7-8 or the 5-9-10. It is a difficult shot, but it's one that kind of meets the eye, I guess, so to speak. Like I look at it and it doesn't get in my head. You throw a good ball and you leave the back row with no wood, you get pissed off and whatever. With this shot, it's not something that I get totally irritated with, but because I enjoy trying to, because there's a couple of ways you can go with this. If you're full on the 5-pin, you're hoping you're light on the 8-pin that cuts over into the 7. I made that shot up in Bangor a couple weeks ago in the state doubles that way. Little full on the 5-pin. The ball just carried over into the side of the 8-pin, which kicked it into the 7. The other way, of course, is to be light on the 5-pin on the I guess either side of the 5-pin. And either if you're light on the left side, then it's going to hopefully come off the wall and take out the 8 and the 8 and the 7. Or if you're light on the 5-pin on the right-hand side, you're trying to cut it over into the 7. You're hoping that carries over into the 8. So you got a couple of different ways. Unlike the 5-7 or the 5-10, where the only really way you can make that is by cutting it over. It's just kind of, it's a fun. I hate to say it's a fun shot. But it's a shot that I guess is not pleasing to the eye. It's a shot that God, I guess it's a difficult shot that I enjoy shooting at, I guess. So that's kind of, I'd say that is probably my favorite difficult shot, if that makes sense. It's certainly not the spread eagle. That irritates me. Even though it's, the spread eagle is makeable in several ways, and I've seen it made several ways. I've seen people miss it and make it, of course, just like you would anywhere. But it's yeah. I guess I'm gonna go with that. That will be that'll be my favorite difficult shot, Angela. I'm gonna say it because I missed it last week. Habs suck. They suck. They have a toilet bowl as a logo. They're terrible. Boo Habs. Go Bruins. So there's that. Um, I got had an idea, and I want to say it was Dave Chestakov started, and a couple of guys started a bowlers association, not a proprietors association. It wasn't like the ICBA, and I forget what they called it, but it got me thinking down this path that I question why we don't have something like this and why we don't use something like this, because it could be something that could be done. Um, and I'm going to ramble for a second, and I think you'll see where I'm going at the end with this, or I hope you do. But one of the, as someone that bowls in a lot of tournaments away from his home house, one of the frustrating aspects is my average in my home house might be anywhere. It's been as high as a 128, 129. It's been as low as a 118. I mean, it can vary. But the house is known as a honest house, but a faster, on the faster side, meaning it could be a faster house. And it frustrates me when I go to a house that has, like a handicap tournament, and you've got bowlers coming in with a 90 plus average that bowl 1100, and they do that consistently because they're taking their average out of their home house, which is a very difficult home, a very difficult house. And it frustrates me to give them so many pins when I shouldn't have to give them that many pins. So I got thinking about what are some of the ways around this, and some of that's like a handicap system, similar to golf that Brian and I had talked about in an earlier podcast. That would be kind of fun. That'd be kind of neat. A little difficult to do because each house would have to be rated. Each house would have to be, scored appropriately. And then, of course, just like any other golf course, it's how the conditions are at that time of the tournament depend on kind of the tournament index. So, while it would be kind of neat, and it would be kind of fun, I don't know how realistic that is to do. So, I got thinking, why isn't there some sort of central database? Thinking it through, most people or most houses use the same scoring system with their league averages and everything else. It's the same system, same setup. But why isn't there some type of website or something where a house could say, here is my upload for the Wednesday night men's league, and they upload it, and that goes into the cloud, it goes into the database, and a person now has their scores out there, easily seen, can easily find them, and you know what's happening. And you can do that for tournaments, you can do that for leagues and whatnot. Yeah, I know it takes some money. Yes, it's a website. Yes, there's upkeep. Yes, there's sort of things. But I'm just, again, spitballing here to get back to that Bowlers Association. If, as bowlers, we had something where we had our own association, meaning we didn't have to worry about a house being sanctioned. We didn't have to worry about, did this house pay their dues to be a part of the association. As a Candlepin bowler, if we had a Candlepin Bowling Association for bowlers, that is, again, spitballing here, if we all paid $10, $20 a year, you had a card, whatever, but you entered your scores almost like you do with golf, the GIN system. You have to enter your own scores. Every time you play, you go to the computer, you enter it up. This is a worldwide GIN system. Um, but we don't have something like that for bowling. Again, I know I'm rambling and I get it. Um, I'm just trying to come up with ideas, trying to come up with ways to carry on this game that, frankly, um, I fell out of love with a while ago and have fallen um, back in love with the game. And it's been very good to me. The game. I've made some lifelong friends and dear friends that I consider my family, and I want to see it thrive and I want to see it grow. But in order for that to happen, you've got two sides of the equation. You've got proprietors that want the bowlers, and then you've got the bowlers that want the proprietors. Well, why is it? Why does it have to be inclusive of, or not inclusive, but why does it have to be one or the other? Why can't the bowlers have their own thing where, and that's something that Dave had started. I know, um, there was another website or something else out there where people could put their scores in. So you put your high scores, you put kind of a bio of yourself and things like that. Um, that might have been a Pro Series thing. It might have been something like that. Again, it just kind of got me going down the line that there's 18 different people doing, 18 different things, all wanting the same thing, which is bowling to succeed. So I'm going to pose it out there, put it out there, because it's not like the bowling world is huge. It's not like this is a worldwide thing. We're talking, you know, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Maine, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts. Why is it that we all have to be doing our own thing? Why can't we just all combine and say, hey, okay, the ICBA is great. Yeah, that's wonderful that we have a Hall of Fame. That's the only thing in my eyes that the ICBA at this point, from a bowler's standpoint, really provides. Maybe it does, and maybe it does stuff for the proprietors with, you know, buying power because you're now buying in bulk. You're now able to offer better deals and things like that. That as a bowler, I'm not going to see, because I'm not going to see their Pepsi order. I'm not going to see their, their Budweiser order, their Michelob order. I'm not going to see those types of things. And maybe they're getting a deal because they're part of the ICBA. But that doesn't really affect me as a bowler because they're in the ICBA. Frankly, the whole notion of having lanes equal, well, that's kind of gone down by the wayside because I think there's only one place in, maybe one or two places in Canada that I can think of that really have what I would call official lanes, and that is regulation gutters, backdrop is set to the appropriate length, your sidewalls are set to the appropriate depth. Your pin deck is appropriate, has the appropriate depth as well, and you're 60 feet and 6 feet 6 inches or 60 feet, I can't remember, away from the foul line, and you have working foul lines and whatnot. But I'm going to pose a question: why? Why can't we have flat gutters? That's what all of a lot of Canada has gone to, and some of the houses in the States have gone to flat gutters. I had this conversation. Rusty and I had it this weekend, and I kind of explained a little bit about my thought process. And, I hear people say all the time, oh, I love bowling in hard houses. I love that challenge, and I love to. Great. I don't mind it. I'll bowl there. But I'll tell you where I have the most fun. Newsflash, I like to get rewarded for throwing a good ball. Doesn't mean I have to have strikes. It doesn't even mean I have to have spares. What it means is I want the house to be honest. If you occasionally get a break off the head pin, that's great. That's bowling. That's going to happen. Halifax Fairlanes, to me, was an honest house. Little on the fast side, and that's okay. It was honest. Pittsfield Bowling Center in Maine was an honest house. Fast, but honest. Oxford Hills, when Russ bought it, became an honest house. And now, what I mean by this is, if I threw a good ball, I was going to get rewarded. And by rewarded, it meant I was going to have a spare leave the majority of the time. Yes, I'm going to get splits. Those are going to happen regardless of how fast a house is or how slow a house is. What frustrates me and what irritates me with a house is when I go to a place, and I'm not going to name names, but there was a state tournament there several years ago. Brian and I got up early. We went. We bowled. I threw what I thought was a good ball most of the day. My lane mates kept looking, going, "Oh, God, that looked like a good ball. Oh, wow, that was a good, wow, ooh." I hit the head pin. I hit the object pin 86 times out of 100 boxes. Okay? 86% that I was on the front pin. And of that, 70+% of the time, I left a split of some sort. Anywhere from a spread eagle, which I don't consider a good ball because that's pretty much a perfect ball. 1-5 is a perfect ball. That's as straight as you can get on. So I don't look at a spread eagle as really a good ball. I look at a 7-10. That's a good ball. If you can take everything out and leave the 7-10. If you hit the pocket and you leave the back row. If you hit the pocket and you leave 2 and 1, and it's the 6-10 and the 7, those are the types of leaves that if it happens occasionally, whatever. But if it happens frequently, then do something about it. And the reason why I say that is because on a tournament such as that, where I'm spending upwards of $100 to $125, that's entry fee, gas, and food, and taking 8+ hours out of my day on a weekend away from my family, I want to be rewarded. That is not being rewarded. And that's what I was explaining to Rusty, is the difference between the houses now and the difference 20 years ago. Because 20 years ago, you would go to a house, and if you threw a good ball, you would get rewarded. You would want to come back. You would want to do other things in that house. There's a couple of houses that are no longer around now where, frankly, I'm not sorry to see them go. And the reason I say that was they were more focused on, the money in the bar or the arcade or something than they were the actual bowlers that were coming in to bring this in. And as a bowler, that frustrates me. Because you want to see the sport die, then keep doing what you're doing. If you want to see it grow and you want to see it be active and you want to see it become, back to what it used to be, and frankly, it's going to be tough, but there's nothing that says it can't get back to what it used to be. Not a single thing that says it can't. Part of the problem right now, of course, is you've got your younger generation, your kids, that are now more interested in video games, sitting on the couch playing video games, whatnot. Well, get their ass up off the couch. Take them out. Take them to the bowling alley. I'm telling you, they'll have fun. They'll have a good time. But that's the thing, is what do people want to do when they have a good time? If they go bowling, they want pins to fall. Why do you think they go? Why do you think 10-pin has taken off over the course of 50 years or whatever, 60, 70, 80, whatever it's been? Because the pinfall is higher. It is easier. And don't tell me it's not, because I've bowled both. I've bowled 10 pin a handful of times. I'm not. It's not like I'm really good at it because frankly I'm not. There are some really good candlepin bowlers that are really good 10-pin bowlers. Richie Grassi, Lurch, it's a fantastic 10-pin bowler. Jason Sparks, another one, fantastic 10-pin bowler. And he's a really good candlepin bowler. But they will tell you 10-pin ultimately is easier when it comes to higher scores. It's the nature of bowling with a ball that big and pins as big as they are. So, how do you combat that? Well, do the plates. Make the pin fall a little more. I'm not saying I don't want to see, routine 200s and things like that. 200 should still be a hell of a string, and it should still be celebrated just like a 400 series should be, just like a 500 series should be, just like a 600 series for 5 strings. Those are good. That's good bowling. But if bowling isn't about me, bowling isn't about the Jeff Surretts of the world, and I'm not a Jeff Surrett. He's a hell of a bowler. It's not about the Charlie Mylans and the Craig Holbrooks and the Tommy Olstas. Those guys are generational talents. That's what we call those guys in baseball. Acuna right now is a generational talent. Mookie Betts, a generational talent. That's not what bowling is about. Bowling is about your average bowlers that go in once a week to league. They have some beers. They have a good time with their friends. I mean, how many times have you gone in league bowling and, in the first string you're hearing guys go, Jesus, I don't even know why I came down here. This sucks. God, I can't even get the pins to go. Can't do blah, blah. Okay. Well, that's a routine occurrence some places. Again, I'm not saying you got to soup them up. I'm not saying that you've got to go, tilted gutters with extra thick sidewalls and bring the back flap closer. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is take care of the place. Do the plates occasionally. Bowlers want you want them to come back. Give them a reason to come back. This is what I was talking to Rusty about, and that's what Rusty has done. He even says, he goes, it's hard work, but it's worth it because your bowlers are happy. Look, Chris Merrill had a fantastic night last week. 492 for 3. He came 11 pins short of the state record in the state of Maine. And he didn't do it because the pins were juiced up or whatever. It helped. But he's a hell of a bowler. But it helped that the pins were done, that the plates were done. People talk about that. It's the same thing. You joke about chicks dig the long ball. Well, chicks dig the strikes too. People like to see good things. They like to see good bowling. Take care of your place. Do the plates. Invite people in. Get the youth involved. There are things that we're going to have to do. I know this is a big old rambling diatribe of what started out as a bowlers association or a central database of leagues and whatever. But I could talk about this for days on end. I've been there. I've seen a lot of bowling. I've been to a lot of houses. I've been to some freaking fantastic houses, and I've been to some that frankly, how shall I say, I would never step foot in again. And if that's the house that you have, and I'm one person saying that, how many others are saying that? You got to think about things like that. This is a different world that we live in. There are a lot of other competitions out there for our time. And especially the kids, because the kids and the youth of the bowling, and I'm going to call your younger 20-year-olds, 25 and under, that is the future of the game. Well, they want to have a good time too. They want to have fun. That means you got to take care of your houses, folks. That means you got to take care of the plates. You got to do things. You got to, you got to have some tournaments. You got to have, Danny Finn is doing a fantastic job down at Millis, having all these tournaments. You've got Rusty Neely doing tournaments at Oxford Hills. You've got, Cheech putting this tournament together. You've got Alfie putting we can't have a Worlds this year, so he's putting something together that is going to be a load of fun. It's going to be 12 American teams, American men teams bowling for, good money. That's what we're looking for. That's what that's what we want to see happen here, and it can happen. It's going to take everybody working together. So ultimately, I want to get back to real quickly a Bowlers Association, just something to think about. Is it worth exploring to have our own association? Again, it doesn't mean much other than does this association have some type of central database where averages can be held? You can put, right now we have scores of the week in Candlepin Bowling on Facebook. I love to go ahead and see what people are bowling. I love, I like to like people's statuses when it comes to that. I like to comment on them. I want to see the big things, but things get lost in something like that. I don't have the money for it. Otherwise, I'd do something. I'd create a website about it. I think it would be pretty cool. It'd be a fun little thing to have. And, maybe it draws some people in. Maybe it gives some opportunities somewhere, somehow, for something. I don't know. But that would be that would be something as well. The other thing with a central database of averages for leagues and things like that, it would be a heck of a lot easier for these folks that are offering tournaments where you've got to provide proof of address and things like not address, of averages. It would provide an easier way for a proprietor or a house or a manager of a bowling alley to be able to go in and say, okay, I've got 12 teams today, or coming up, and I need averages for everyone. Well, that's 75 people, or 70 people, or 6, or whatever it is. My math isn't 62 people, or whatever it is. Instead of calling around to 50 different places, to be able to go to one website and say, okay, Tim Matero, okay, here's his average. Brian Athern, okay, here's his average. Calvin Locke, okay, here's his average. I mean, that to me it just seems so much easier than me coming up going, oh, hey, yeah, my highest league average was, XYZ, when I might not even be remotely close to what that is. So, that's kind of where it stands, I guess. I don't know. I could be wrong. I just want to see bowling succeed, and the only way I know how to see that succeed is to basically just keep talking about it. It would kind of be pretty neat. I don't know, just something to think about. So some other things. One of the topics Calvin wanted to know was how shitty you guys are at golf. And some of our shitty sports teams. So I'm good enough at golf, Calvin, that I could kick your ass. So let's play. No, I've been playing golf a long time. Enjoy it. Love the game. Something to be said about just enjoying it now versus taking it so serious like I used to. I will say that. And hey, it is what it is. But your shitty sports teams. Yeah, Brian does like the Cowboys. I'm sorry. That injury to Dak Prescott. Yikes. Hoping for a good recovery for him. I am an unabashed, diehard Red Sox, Celtics, Bruins, Patriots fan. Always have been, always will be. Love them all. I've been lucky enough where I've been able to see all my teams win and win successfully, unlike Calvin liking the Leafs, and the Leafs suck. Habs suck. Raptors suck. Let's see what else is there. Lakers, congratulations on winning your 17th title, tying the Celtics for the most all time. Granted, you had to bring in a super team to do it. And granted, you had to do it in two different cities because you left Minneapolis years ago. But congratulations nonetheless. LeBron James gets his fourth championship. Good for you, Bronny. Not a big fan of you as far as your attitude and your personality, but there is no denying your talent when it comes to playing basketball. So there's that. Hate the Lakers, but I think in order for the Lakers or the Celtics to win their 18th banner, it has to be against one or the other. That's just my take. Hot take of the day. Other than that, it was cool. I came across something today earlier, and I'm trying to it kind of resonated with me as I was reading this through, and most people that know me know that I'm a fairly, I guess, sentimental. Basically, I can cry. I cry easily. I'm an emotional person, just always have been. Someday we'll get into it, and I'll explain a little bit about things. But came across this, and it was just it was very poignant, and I'm going to read it. It's long. Bear with me, because it's I kind of felt it this weekend as well. I'm not going to read it because then I'll cry, and we don't want me to cry. But ultimately, it was a long story of just how much time is valuable, and basically what it means is the thing that people sometimes, the older you get, the more you value time. And it's time with people. It's time with your family. It's time with your friends. And going through COVID, going through the pandemic, and going through the quarantining and everything else has played a really big challenge for a lot of people. But it's important that people understand how much your time means to other people, and it's true. There's a whole list of things here, and it goes through and it talks about um, people being special and unique, and you mean the world to someone, and every night someone thinks about you before they go to bed, and a smile from you can bring happiness to anyone, even if they don't like you. I don't know about that one, but it's true. I didn't realize it. I read it over this week. I read it over today, and I was just kind of like, wow. Mental health is vital, and the fact is that with the stuff that we're going through, it's even more important now to be good, to be around the people you can be around. It's just kind of neat. It was kind of long and poignant, and I was going to read it, and then I realized that right now this isn't really the time or the place, and maybe when we separate things, it kind of reminds me. Some of it kind of chuckled. It says, always remember the compliments you receive, forget about the rude remarks, and I remember some of the rude ones. Certainly remember some of the rude ones. And if you have a great friend, take the time to let them know that they're great. And it's the old adage of take the time to tell people you love them, and that That's something that I got away from for a lot. You know, I think we take the word love for granted, but you know, that is what it is. It's nothing you can do about it. We just kind of take it for granted. We take our significant others for granted. There's no doubt in my mind that I've taken my wife for granted. She's put up with me for 24 years. God knows how long. She's a friggin' saint to put up with me that long, but she has. Um, and I don't tell her near enough how much I appreciate that and how much I appreciate what she does for me, for the family, and everything else. Um, this got a little bit deeper than what I intended, but that's okay. It's all good. Um, what else? We've got we've got. Oh, if you're still listening, something to mark on your calendar. Uh, right now, Saturday, March 6th. Saturday, March 6th. I will get confirmation of this, but this is the preliminary date for the inaugural Howard Dearborn Memorial 560 tournament at Oakland Park here in Rockport, up here in Maine. This will be from my understanding, Jason and I are going to be working on this, trying to figure it out. He wants to get, ultimately, there's 18 lanes at Oakland Park. You'd love to get 18 teams. If you got 18 teams, we'd do it over Saturday and Sunday and have a 2-day event. Everybody bowls everybody, so you bowl 17 strings in 2 days. Looking for potential deals at some local hotels, Samoset Resort, Hampton Inn, things like that. But that's something to kind of put on your calendar for March 6th and possibly March 7th. That is Saturday and Sunday, the first Saturday and Sunday in March. If we only get 12 teams, which we're kind of thinking maybe the first year might be good, it will be a 1-day event, and we'll bowl everybody one string, 11 strings for the day, be a marathon type tournament. So prizes, that information soon to come. But I did want to get that out there so everybody kind of knew what was going on with that. So what else we got here? Trying to think. We got some tournaments coming up. In November, we've got the men's, well, what was the men's worlds. That's going to be held in Portsmouth. Alfie, great job putting that together. That'll be the first week in November. Pro Series playoffs supposed to be coming up, I believe, November 14th. I want to say that's going to be at Leda Lanes. And let's see. Oh, can't forget, folks. Got a mixed doubles tournament in November, at the end of November, the weekend of Thanksgiving. That Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I think Friday is going to be a singles. Then Saturday, Sunday, a mixed doubles at Augusta at 1-7-10 in Augusta. So I'm not going to take the full hour. I'm going to sign off. I hope everyone has a great week. Brian will be back next week, and hopefully more to come on the podcast. There's been news to come on hopefully some YouTube bowling shows. I've had people express some interest on that, so that would be kind of fun if we can get that going. So, guys, have a great week, and we'll take it from there.